Before we get started with the conversation, it's important for me to acknowledge that the Pivot Muse is presented by Melanin Muse. Melanin Muse is our love letter to Black women, sharing our genius and our impact on this world, owning our narratives. It's our time. As you've pivoted through your life and career, who are your Melanin Muses and what impact have they made on your journey?
That is a really great question. One of my melanin muses, I would say right now, is Beyonce. I know that's really cliche to say, but her story is very inspirational. She has always made it a point to elevate on each project that she works on. The inspiration that I take from her is to always just be myself unapologetically, always speak up for myself. With us being Black women, a lot of people question what we say, question our intelligence. And so she's unapologetically herself. Seeing her start from where she is to where she is now, it allows me to feel like I can run my own race. I don't have to try to look at somebody else and like, oh my God, I'm not doing anything, because she's 42 years old and she just feels like she can take a deep breath and she doesn't have to prove anything to somebody else. And she started when she was a child. I've always put pressure on myself. Okay, I want to have this together, or by 25 I want to have this together. But now I'm taking my time with certain things. I'm being more present in the moment.
Absolutely. Come on now. Beyonce and that discipline. I love the fact that she's giving us the behind the scenes in these last two documentaries of her shows, because we
Hmm.
really got to see the human in her. Because I mean,
Exactly.
all the genius and magic that she brings, all Black women go through the same thing when it comes to proving yourself. So she definitely gives us that for sure. As you think back to even your childhood or as you're on your way to college, thinking about those changes in your life that was pivotal to the woman you are today and
Yeah,
becoming.
I was the first person in my family to go to college. My parents went to college, of course, but they went later on in their life. They both joined the army at the age of 18. So that's how their career started. And then later on, they were able to go to college. Growing up with my mother, she has such a resilient story. And for her to just still be as gracious as she is, that's just an example to me in itself, because she has been through so much that I couldn't even imagine going through as a child, as a teenager. And for her to just still put a brave face on, or still have a smile, still raise kids, deal with us, and still go about her day, that was inspirational to me, to just want to get as much out of life as I can, because she didn't have all the opportunities. Both of my parents didn't have all the opportunities that I had. Being able to start my career, my dad found a flyer for me, because I started off acting as a child, AMCC competition. And just him listening to me, I thought that was very important for me. Just him listening to, oh, dad, I want to be in the industry. I want to be an actress. Not really knowing what I
Right.
wanted to do yet. Just him like finding something, doing his own research. Okay, I'm going to put you in this. I'm going to guide you through this. I always owe him my career, because just him listening to me, it just really touched my heart. It just made me feel like I could do anything because I have the support of my parents.
Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that. The Pivot Muse brings you curated stories and advice from global professionals making one of life's most important decisions, the pivot. I'm your host, Natina Marie, and our guest today is Imani Winston, film and
Hi.
TV coordinator. Thank you so much for joining me.
Of course, Natina.
As the audience will learn, we have history, we've worked together,
Mhm.
and I really just love your story and where you are. You're so young and ambitious and very driven and determined to get a career that you want, navigating life. You've made smart decisions that I think can be
Yeah.
very helpful for our audience. So you're doing amazing things, but I want to
Mhm.
back it up
Okay.
because I was looking at the timeline. So we initially started working together, I think was just a year after you graduated from college,
Yep.
right?
It was January of 2019.
Okay. At the time, I was a co founder of a
Mhm.
streaming network that we were trying to get off the ground. By 2019, you came in the transition.
Mhm.
We were in the middle of a pivot. As much as we loved creating content and having the streaming company, we were trying to figure out what happens
Mhm.
next. So when you came, there was a lot of work to be done.
Mhm.
And our production manager at the time, Erica, which didn't
Mhm.
play, and she was like, the only intern we're gonna get needs to be your assistant.
Mm.
We had a lot of people wanting to work with us because we was creating so much content in Atlanta and seeing the platform and being inspired. We were basically an incubator for folks to come in and get some experience.
Erica has always been no nonsense when it comes to production, honey. She is definitely a production manager, okay? So I interned at V103 and I met one of my sisters to this day named Sammy, and
Yeah,
she hosted one of you all's sneakerhead events.
yeah,
And I thought it was so dope. So I was asking her about it, and she was just like, "Oh no, Blossom is really dope. They're very catered to the independent world of film, inspiring us and things of that nature." I was just like, I just want to find, I was working at the credit union. Let's just start there. I graduated May 2018 at Georgia Southern University. I started working at Delta Community Credit Union. I grew up with survival parents, so I knew I needed a stable income if I was going to be in the industry. I needed to save up a lot of money to be able to do that. That's because we all know that the industry is fickle a little bit. Anything can happen, as we all know. 2023, the strike.
absolutely.
I worked at the credit union for 2.5 years. I was trying to find somewhere, someone that would be able to guide me and help me out and show me the ropes. When I saw Sammy host and then she was speaking so highly of you guys, I was like, "Ooh, I really want to see if I can intern with them or be your assist." I do remember our conversation, and you were so down to earth. You were very nice, very sweet. I had just actually lost someone too, and you were
Mm,
very nice about that. You're like, "Oh my gosh, do you want to talk later?" I'm like, "No, let's do this now." You know what I'm
mm.
saying? So you hear things about people being cutthroat, rude, very cold. I never got that from you guys. That touched my heart.
Shout out
Mhm.
to Sammy.
Shout out to
Love
Sammy.
her. And so appreciate that she recommended us. We were supporting each other as creative. Sammy hosted for us. That wasn't the first thing she did for us. We were working together and just rooting for each other, making sure that independent community, there was a sisterhood, there was a family
Mhm.
going on in the midst of an industry that had a bad rap. I was absolutely intentionally going to make sure you got on set. I believe in creating opportunities. What I appreciated the most was that you took your job seriously. I haven't had an assistant like you other than my daughter, which is very disciplined as well. It was just the fact that you had the respect to
Mhm.
say, okay, I'm an intern. I know I'm not being paid. I know I'm not interested in doing administrative work. Trying to get further in the industry, but I'm gonna support you. You came with the same energy, and I really
Mhm.
appreciated that. Down to texting me randomly like, Natina, have you ate anything today? Did you
Yes.
rest? Did you drink water? You really cared and you showed that you were here to help. And
Mhm.
that goes a long way. I said, oh, okay, she going far because you understand the assignment, right? You really understood that it's okay to pay your dues and understand that there's a lot that I could learn just by observing. Some people just feel like they
Right.
have to be doing XYZ. Meanwhile, you could just be watching people moves. Oh, I haven't been on the camera yet. Let me just pay attention and see what Jasmine's
Right.
doing. We just had so many talented people around. You had a mission to
Mhm.
pivot away from banking and work in the film and television industry full time. You were
Mhm.
working full time in banking, part time
Mhm.
day playing. You were out there grinding. I want you to tell
Mhm.
me about what that looked like for you right at that moment. How were you making those moves?
Working at the credit union was very trying, of course, because people do not play about their money. And I started off in the call center. I was getting all of the personalities, all the problem calls. It definitely was stressful, but I knew that I needed to keep my spirits up to be able to find my way in the industry. I didn't want my week life to affect my weekend life, if that makes sense. I was looking forward to the weekends too. I did start off going to a lot of PAs, just getting the basics, kind of set you up with equipment, walkie talkies, things of that nature. They show you like little things of that. And then I started meeting more people, started getting the courage to talk to more people. I met a wonderful woman named Giave Stinchcomb, and she gave me my first opportunity to day play for her. She was doing a project with DJ Funk, and I was in the studio. Basically, I was picking up food, whatever that situation was. I nurtured that relationship. She was somebody that I had to contact all of the time. She is not good with her phone, text, emails, anything. I was genuine with it, like I'm genuine with you. I wanted genuine connections, and I truly believe what's for you is for you. So any couple months, I knew she wasn't going to email me back. I was like, hey, Diva, I hope you're having a good day. I'm off today or something like that. So if you need anybody, let me know. That's when she finally gave me my opportunity. And we've been locked in ever since as well. Then, of course, keeping in contact with my old connections like Sammy, genuinely supporting her through what she's doing. And then she pointed me to you guys. And I just wanted to keep learning. I love learning new things and I love having new experiences. And that's what I love about this industry as well. With the projects being 3 to 4 months or a couple weeks, you're always learning something. I would say I'm still navigating it because I also feel like me being an observer, I don't always put myself out there. I don't always jump, I feel like, on opportunities. I'm still learning that too, how to ask people for help or ask people certain things of that nature. When I find genuine connections that allow me to be myself and that allow me to learn, I hold on to those because I feel like that's what's going to get me further than just trying to jump on everybody's bandwagon and there to fill a role for them. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a part of genuine opportunities that'll get the job done where I'm learning as well and we're all helping each other.
Absolutely. What advice would you give
Mhm,
someone that's in that same situation? They're in their
mhm,
9 to 5.
mhm.
Their passion is creative work.
The advice I would give is don't necessarily listen to the other people saying, "Oh, just jump into it with only $50 in your account." You know what I'm saying? Some people's stories, they've been blessed and they've been able to pan out that way. You're not them. You have to be smart. You still have to pay your bills. Anything can happen. Like I said, 2023, it was a strike. Look at your finances, look at what you pay for, what you like, your nails, your hair, all that. You have to factor that stuff into what you do for a living. Make sure that you have a plan and that you have enough savings to where if you were to walk away from your stability and you're able to go into this industry, is that going to take care of you for a certain amount of time to where you don't have to stress? Because we all know that stress just brings on extraness and it takes you away from your actual goal of probably being in the industry. You really have to look at yourself and be honest with yourself.
I love your advice. You're not them, and it may have worked
Right.
out for them, but be realistic about your situation. To paint a picture, did you have
Mhm.
a specific number in mind of what need to be in your savings for you to feel comfortable?
I did. I told myself and my parents, I know how y'all are, and I respect it. Truthfully, I respect my parents. You appreciate your parents more as you grow up and you get into your adult life. I definitely wanted to save at least $10,000 because that was going to take care of all of my personal bills at the time. I just kept that in the forefront of my mind. I had to stop looking at social media and looking at my peers. Stop looking at them like, oh, I should be doing that too. Why isn't my story panning out that way? Because I know a lot of people who graduated from college and went straight into the industry. That's not my journey. I learned from the credit union how to deal with different personalities. When you're working in this industry, you have so many different personalities around you. You have to learn how to work with them. The goal is the goal. The executive producer doesn't care that you're not getting along with somebody in the hair department. You guys need to make sure that the actress is in hair and that you're getting the person to set on time. That's just what it is. Working in the credit union helped me deal better with people and take myself out of it, not make it personal. I feel like that's why God also made me stay there long as well. Certain opportunities I got, I could have left a little earlier, but I didn't feel good about it. You know how you get a feeling about
Your,
something? Like,
your
I didn't get a good
intuition.
feeling. Yeah, I had to stay put to keep learning whatever he was wanting me to learn at the time there and move when he wanted me to move. Going back to the finance situation, I had $10,000 in mind. I set aside probably 3 to 400 each check. I only got paid twice a month. I love seeing it pile up. I've never seen that much money, before. So
Right.
I was getting excited about it too. I also wanted to make my parents proud in a sense. I didn't want to move out or leave a job and then something happened and I'm falling flat on my face. I wanted to show them that we raised a responsible daughter and she's going to be okay.
That's amazing. There's a lot of people that don't have that type of discipline to save. It's
Mhm.
also a huge accomplishment. Know it's possible. And you did that before jumping out there to follow your passion. And that's what I
Mhm.
want people to know about this. Your story is that you committed to, yes, the 9 to 5, but you also made the most of your time. That meant I'm young, I don't have kids and a family yet. So the weekends matter. I can't
Mhm.
turn up every weekend. I might need to go jump on somebody's set, even if I'm volunteering, because
Right.
this is where I'm trying to go. You were throwing yourself in, and that's the one thing you have to give yourself a lot of credit for. You jumped in where the opportunities were.
Okay.
That to me was super important. When the real opportunity came, you were already
Mhm.
prepared. Think about it. You came literally 1 year before the pandemic. And in a
Yeah.
transitional year, you could have gave up on us, right? But
Mhm.
you stuck with us, understanding that when a project came around, that would be your opportunity to do it. And then boom, 2020 hit.
Mhm.
Right when we actually had two deals on the line for that could have really changed what our production company at the time, the path for that. Two deals and one opportunity with Essence, which we were able to hurry up and get through to do before everything shut down on us. But it was one of those things that, bam, just when you don't put a year into being dedicated to a small business, everything comes
Mhm.
crashing down. So
Yes.
I want to commend you. You have the wherewithal to stick through something as well because you know what's on the other side. But when that
Mhm.
pandemic hit, we didn't know what was going to happen. We go a whole year of not making content. It was like really sad times
It
when
was
it came to like
so
the thought,
sad.
because we had been making content for a good number of years and being creative, and it just seemed so stagnant at that
Mhm.
time. Right before we dismantled and said, okay, let's everybody work on their own thing, you reached out to me. We talked about doing a commercial. I want to produce and direct the commercial. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, and that was what that was 2021. It was December.
I think we did the commercial in 2021 because the journal was around during 2020.
We already had the Muse
Oh,
planner
right. Right, right, right.
selling. You pitched an idea and things just
Right.
got crazy. So we really didn't get a chance to do it when we first dropped the Muse
The
planner.
planner.
We actually filmed the commercial. At that point, we hadn't did content in forever. Things were closed, but things were starting to open back up. You were serious because you kept checking in with me. And I love that. At that moment, I said, let's just do it at the house.
Mhm.
We filmed at my house a commercial and you wrote it, produced it, directed it. It was small in the grand scheme of things, but it was something to empower you. Now the tables have turned. Here's the production team. We are your team and we're doing what you say. It was beautiful to see because you did an excellent job with it.
Thank
It was
you.
shortly after that there was another opportunity that came. I remember you texting me
Mhm.
about that opportunity.
I will say my first year in the industry, the opportunities that I got, I really was just like a kid at a candy store just looking around. Wow, this is just beautiful. It's amazing. I loved learning. I loved the people that I was around. What I got from it truly was basically the basics, of course, but also that I can be myself in the industry as well. I can be nice and I could have a good time with people as we're working.
Mhm.
Sometimes it didn't feel like work when I was with you guys and with Gia Bay and her team. I was still learning and things of that nature, but it didn't always feel like work. And it just made me feel I could do anything with a great team, great support. Like you said, we had a couple of deals on the table. Okay, I'm excited about those. And then boom, the pandemic happened. I will say when it first happened, I was a little depressed because when I was still working at the credit union, working from home, and it just messed up my mind a little bit. I'm like, Lord, we like did, we close and stuff, and I'm praying and I'm when you locking down the world a little bit right now. And but he just wanted me to be still, and I feel like he really wanted me to just be more appreciative and stop trying to rush things and pace yourself and get more self-confidence within yourself because you can do it. Once you put your mind into something, you can do whatever you need to do. Once I got over the depressing part of 2020, I did tap into, okay, I want to be more confident. I want to do my own projects and things of that nature. I really did love the journal. I love journaling. If you guys don't know, our journal was encouraging. We like had a lot of beautiful quotes in there that inspired you throughout the week. That's what I loved about it, is because sometimes you need to pick me up. Most people need pick me ups every day. You know what I'm saying? So I
Absolutely.
liked how we had an inspirational quote every week to just start off the week and just start off fresh and with a beautiful mindset. I love you so much, Natina, because that was my first project that I did on my own.
It was all yours. We was your team. That's it. We just came in as your production team. And it was beautiful to watch you work. It was tough for me too because we had worked so hard, and then being a leader, media company, trying to create these opportunities for your team. And then as soon as you have these opportunities at your hand that can change some things, the world shuts down. It was beautiful to come back together, but it was also like a full circle moment because you came in as an
It really
intern,
was.
as my assistant, and here it is. I'm like watching you. Okay, you ready, right? No, you did an
Right?
excellent job, and it was beautiful. I think we
Yeah.
released it in January, and then boom, 3 months later, this is that moment where you have been working for.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
what's the reality? You're supposed to be playing, and it wasn't
Yes,
supposed to be
ma'am.
permanent.
Okay, so I'm gonna back up before I talk about the March. Like I said, 2020 was very different for me. God wanted me to really listen to Him and be still and let Him control things because, people like to control. He wanted to control things. And right before we did the commercial, I had got an opportunity. Well, not really an opportunity, but I saw a flyer where you can apprentice. I forgot who the producer was, but that was an opportunity to leave my job, I thought, because the apprenticeship was going to be 8 weeks. They
Mhm.
were gonna have you in the classroom learning different basics, and then they were gonna put you on whatever show was available afterwards. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. And for some reason, it did not go right. At the time in 2020, I was taking COVID tests like every other week just because we had free access to it. I had just taken one just because I wanted to last week, negative, right? On the way to get my new one, I got a flat tire. Still was able to get to the COVID test area, but they told me that I was positive. I was like, I just took one. I'm not positive. I don't even feel bad. What's going on? My mom was just like, it's not for you. That opportunity was not for you. I
Mhm.
literally took a COVID test the next day just to make sure because I also lived with my parents still at the time. And it came back negative. So I'm like, wow, you really didn't want me to take that apprenticeship, huh? I had to get over that situation, but I did the commercial with you guys in December, and that really brought my spirits up. So I was like, you know what? In 2021, it's going to be for me. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and it's going to be okay. So I told God, I was like, okay, I'm going to ask for a raise at my job. And if I don't get this raise, then I know you want me to leave. I didn't get the raise. Okay. Literally March 3rd. And it's so crazy. I also had lost my uncle at the time. So it
Mhm.
was a very sad time. I'm not even thinking about anything right now. I'm just doing my job, like trying to grieve and get over things like that. And I get a random call March 3rd, 2021, and they're like, "Hi, is this Imani?" I'm like, "Yes, who is this?" Because I don't know the number. And they're just like, "Hey, no, we need you to day play. Can you come take a COVID test?" And I'm like, "Huh?" They was like, "Can you day play for Black Lightning?" I'm like, "Huh?" I didn't put my resume in for Black Lightning. Mind you, you don't really put your resume in for any show, guys. I'm sorry, that's not how this works. It's mostly based on connections and who you know. To this
And
day, I still don't know how I got that gig though.
wow,
I know it was
that is
divine
good.
intervention or something. He was literally picking me up, honestly. So they were like, "Oh, could you come day play for us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, mind you guys, I'm still working at the credit union on my laptop because we can work from home." And so I just told them like, "Hey, I can't really come in next week." I brought my computer actually to Black Lightning, like my work computer, and I was doing both. And Drew, the assistant coordinator at the time, she was just like, "Are you working?" I was like, "Yeah, I hope it's okay." She was like, "No, I mean you getting our work done." I was just asking where you working. And I was just like, "Yeah." And then she was just like, "Well, I'm gonna ask the coordinator if you can just stay for the rest of the 8 weeks." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well let me know if that works out." And they loved me, and the journey has really taken off ever since then.
I actually remember the text about this opportunity. I remember saying, "It sounds like this is your opportunity. That
Mhm.
now
Yep.
would be the time to leap," right? Because you have been
Mm.
preparing for it. If you got 8 weeks, you're gonna figure it out after that, right? Because
Right.
I remember you still having that little moment of, should I be quitting my
Yeah.
job?
Hesitant. Yeah.
I was so happy. Congratulations on that. It's just been up from there. To be
It really
honest,
has.
like super proud of your work. I love the fact that even in the middle of your journey, you created a piece for creatives to
Mhm.
inspire them. You understood this journey that you had been dreaming of, and now you're in it, but it's also very tough. You didn't know what was going to happen when those 8 weeks was over, and now you've left your
Right.
jobs. Okay, BMF. Tell us
Mhm.
in this journey of you've had this, you were on a journey, so you're being intentional about your pivot. And I brought
Right.
that up with someone else. I'm like, some pivots is because you're in a situation, or you need a
Mhm.
life hack. Some of us are that are really good with the art of pivoting are being intentional and
Right.
planning and strategizing. How do I pivot? What's my exit strategy from a job or whatever it is?
Exactly.
So, did
Mhm.
you do anything like to
Mhm.
prepare for Black Lightning's ending? Did they
Mhm.
continue keep you on? What happened next?
They kept me towards the end. I was there for the last rap day, and so I kept my contact with Drew. She's a coordinator in the industry, and she liked the way I work. She liked the way that I was observant and learned from her. I like to pick up on things so that people don't have to tell me to do something. If I see a routine that they're doing and I see maybe it didn't happen, I'll just be like, okay, this needs to happen or this didn't happen yet. Do you want me to do it? She was like, oh, I like how you're proactive. She said, hey, I know you said that you're going on vacation, but after your vacation, can you come with me to woke? And I was like, yeah, girl, I will come with you anywhere. It's really about your impressions too. The work that you do when you have the opportunity, you have to make sure that you're doing what you got to do to get to the next opportunity. I did my work. I was myself. I'm always thinking about people genuinely. She brought me on to Woke. I was still in the production office. Then I moved on to Legacies. That's another show. And then I got the beautiful opportunity from one of my sisters in the industry named Lauren. She asked me to come with her to BMF. And to this day, that has been one of my favorite projects to work on because I got to see so many of the legends that I grew up on.
Right.
That was very, very full circle for me. I will never forget Monique walked in for her fitting, but she like turned the corner and I hadn't even noticed that was her yet, but she saw us in the office and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, y'all are so beautiful. I just want to wish beautiful blessings on you, sweet babies." She was just, I
Oh,
don't know,
sweet
like sweet
babies.
babies. I was just like, oh my gosh. And then she goes into the wardrobe room, and then me and Lauren are looking at each other. Oh my gosh, we had to do like a little scream real quick and then get back to work. The little girl in you is just so happy. She's so like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Thank you, God. BMF was such an amazing experience. I was still in the production office with that show too, but we got an opportunity to be on set at times. I worked the morning shift, so I was able to go on set afterwards and fill out for the camera crew, the grip crew. Like we were a big family over there. To this day, some of us still check in with each other and give each other opportunities on our own personal projects. Then after that, I was like, okay, I want to do more. I want to be more of an asset. I know that I can do great things because I get extra work, but I want to be able to be more of an asset throughout the whole entire process. I reached back out to the wonderful Giave, and she was actually going to be a showrunner for a film called Judge Me Not. And she was like, I need a production coordinator. Okay. I definitely asked for a leadership role, but I didn't know you was going to ask me to be the coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow. She was just like, that's what you want to do, right? She's very,
I love
very.
that.
Yeah. So I was just like, sure. Judge Me Not is actually loosely based on Judge Lynn Tover's life, her early start when she became a judge and things of that nature. It was just very, because you grow up on these people and then now you're a part of their project. It was so full circle. And that was an experience. It was tough because that was my first time having to fix everything. As a coordinator, you have to fix everything. No matter if you're in the talks with the executives or not, you have to act like you know what's going on if you don't. You know what I'm saying? That was a great learning experience for me. It taught me how to continuously be myself in spaces that I see where other people are doing them. I was able to learn as I went, but I was still able to be quick on my feet. I was a more part of that project only because I knew that I was more part of the day to day to get through it. It was great
I love that. Quick education. If
hmm,
you're interested in TV and
the production
film,
office.
being on set is only one part. There's the running
Right,
of the business
right.
of a film. What did you
Mhm.
do in the office, which obviously helped prepare you to be the leader in the office?
The production office, we like to call it, is like the heart of everything. It's the heartbeat because that's where you get the call sheets. That's where you have to make sure everyone's actors' contracts are in order. That's where you have to set every other department up for their greatness. set up their room, set up the equipment that they would need to flourish and do what the directors want them to do. It's a lot of organization, all of the new scripts that we get, all of the headshot photos, the different shot plans. It's all organized in something called Synchronize or whatever platform that people use. We use Synchronize. It's making sure that the train keeps on going and that it goes smoothly. You would be so surprised. If it wasn't for us, people would be running around with their heads cut off. That also showed me that I also like to be in the office. I like to do both. I like to be in the starting process of something, and then I like to see it flow and carry out.
Production coordinator, which is
Mhm.
running the office. What was challenging about that transition?
I think the challenging part was realizing all of the extra work that I didn't see when I was a production assistant. It was just so many other moving parts. Then with this particular production, it was a budget constraint, so you had to work with what you had. I really honestly had to think on my feet with every single thing. I knew the basis of what we wanted to do. I knew the goal of what we wanted to do, but I literally had to look at what I had and be like, "Okay, this is what we have to work with as we're doing it." That was challenging for me, but I had a great leader, Give, to assist me as she was the showrunner, even though she's supposed to be focusing on one thing. She was still able to show me the ropes when it came to that.
We all will have our first time at something. Right?
Right.
It's beautiful when there is someone that say, I see and I know you're capable. She didn't hire
Mhm.
you without knowing that you were capable. Then when I get you here, I also recognize it's your first time. I'm gonna lend a hand to make sure
Exactly.
that you are successful at it because again, I
Mhm.
believe in you. That's what she was showing you, that
Exactly.
she believed in you, that you can
Mhm.
do it.
Mhm.
I'm
Thank
really, really proud
you.
of you and
Thank
excited for
you.
your future because I know it's so much more. Have you worked
Mhm.
on set yet for a full project?
Yes, so 2023, honey. We
Okay.
wrapped up our show in February, and then I started working on commercials. And that was just a thing I just wanted to try. I wanted to start looking at different mediums. I did a couple of music videos back in 2019 and then one in 2021, and I really liked the vibe of it. I wanted to do more of those things. The strike happened, so I got in touch with the person named Princess. She is amazing, phenomenal, great producer. I was like, Princess, if you need any assistance, let me know. She brought me on to her music videos that she had, her commercials that she had. I was able to be like fully on set for that. And really, that's just assisting in anything. I was more so like her production assistant because she was the coordinator on that. Just making sure the talent green rooms are good, whatever they have on their riders, making sure that's in place for them, making sure everybody has what they need. That's what you need to do. If you're wanting to come into the industry as a production assistant, you are just honestly there to assist with whatever is needed. And you always try to anticipate what somebody else needs, always be looking around, always making sure that the set is clean. Not saying like just pick up after everybody, but just keep it clean. This is our workspace. Be proactive.
Some people don't have the communication skills or the organization skills and being detail oriented because there's
Mm-hmm.
so many moving pieces. You were already ready for it. So that's really dope. One last question, and then we're going to play something called Pivot or Push. And
Okay.
from our producer, it's called And the Pivot Continues. Where do you
Okay.
see yourself in 5 years? And are there any other
Okay.
spaces you're looking to pivot into?
I'll answer that last question first. I assisted one of my good friends from high school on his music video. He asked me to be the creative director for it, come up with a theme, and
Okay,
help him out
okay,
basically.
creative. I said,
Oh,
okay,
yes.
creative director, yes. I love
And
it.
I really love that. The passion projects are my favorite because I know the goal. I love the person, so it's easier to work with them. It's easier to get the goal across. I do want to tap more into creative directing music videos because I love music in general. It makes me go into another place. It heals me sometimes. I always have an imagination when I listen to a song. I want to get some of this imagination out for other people who may not know how to think of a video on their own, or they might have some ideas but don't know how to execute them. They probably don't have as many resources to carry out the production. I just tap more into my creative side when it comes to that. In 5 years, I honestly would love to be on the creative team of a really dope show that is catered to Black women. I don't know in what space that looks like because we are all different shades, sizes, and we all have a lot to say. But I would love to be a part of a TV show that's showcasing us in a very positive light, not judging us when we're crying or we're upset about something. I really want to be a part, whether I'm the executive producer or if I'm on the writing team, I want to be a part of a really dope TV show that is catered to Black women and our experiences. It's definitely some great shows out there, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I want more originality when it comes to some of the stuff that we're seeing on TV. I want to be a part of bringing that back to film, and I would love to be on the creative side and getting that green lit for somebody.
Okay. You have to put things out there, and I feel like
Mhm.
that is gonna happen sooner than 5 years for sure. Yes. You just never know what's brewing up,
Mhm.
Imani.
You never know. You never know.
Thank you so much for having that conversation with me because it's really important. And I hope you really see as you're talking through your journey how you will definitely bless someone else by just being open to sharing your story.
Yeah.
We're going to do pivot or push. I'm going to give you 3 scenarios and you will just tell me, will you pivot or you'll push? You are 2 years into a relationship. Your partner is
Mhm.
warm, loving, and the love for your partner is still there.
Mhm.
But you realize that you don't see any real growth. And matter of fact, you feel like your financial situation is worse than it was 2 years ago. Pivot
Mm.
or push?
Okay, I would push. Mm.
Okay. Next question. You're 25 years old. You're in a tough
Mhm.
situation with your current employer. You're very
Mhm.
unhappy. You have no liquid savings. But if you cash out on your 401k after taxes, have $20,000 and maybe you take it and start over. Do you pivot or push?
I'm gonna pivot.
Yep. Okay. So you took the 20 and you
Mhm.
bounced.
Mhm.
And it looks like this business opportunity is promising, but now
Mhm.
you have limited runway to pay your bills. Do you pivot or push?
I'm still gonna push through.
Okay, let's go to the relationship question because it's
Okay.
2 years. Tell us why you push through.
Honestly, it's really funny that I have that question because 2023 was a strike. I was still blessed to have opportunities, commercials, promos, things of that nature, which I'm very grateful for. But commercials and those type of projects aren't long lasting. They're only like a couple weeks. So of course the funds weren't coming in like they were. So that was throwing me off because I'm like 2023 was supposed to be popping, but it wasn't really popping. Well, it was in a way because I'm more present now. I'll say that. But there was a time in the summer where I was very emotional about my situation and my boyfriend just he held me down. And I feel like that's love. Like it's forever changing. You're not always going to be in the same space that you're in. Crisis happen, strikes are happening, the economy is crazy right now. I feel like you shouldn't leave someone when they're down or leave someone when you see that they're going through it a little bit. The love that he showed me while I'm going through my rants, just upset about my life situation, like, oh my God, like I'm going through my savings, like what's going on? And then having all the time in the world and creating unnecessary arguments. Don't tell him I told you that. I would say that all comes with like a relationship and like loving someone. The love that I got from being in that space, coming out of it, him holding me down at times where I needed him and where I didn't even ask. It's just love. So I was thinking about him.
That's beautiful. I'm so happy that you have that type of love and support. And that's a true partnership. He really showed you what that looks like, which is great because, like you said, you never know when who's going to be up or down and things like
Hmm.
that. Probably overreacting about it because you're so
Yes.
used to having all of this discipline and, oh, I don't want to touch my savings. That's the really great quality that you have is that you are disciplined. So when you have a partner that loves you and that can support you, where you can go is limitless. I married later in life. It's a beautiful thing now to have a partnership. and that we're both entrepreneurs, so we get to support each other like that. You are a very
Thank you.
wonderful person, loving. I
You
appreciate
too.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Pushing
Thank you,
through.
Natina. It's really funny because 2023 was really crazy for me. I'm just like, what is going on? I feel like God is always winking at me in certain instances or occurrences. And when I got that text, I was like, this whole year, and then you want me to do an interview? I really appreciate you for the opportunity. It really boosted my spirit, honestly.